Alright, welcome to the second video of the How to Use Canvas series that I'm recording here. Again, I'm not an expert, but I do know I've been using Canvas for about a month, and so I've had the opportunity to work through some of the kinks, and I just want to help you to navigate and maybe avoid some of those new user errors and problems that I've encountered. So this video is all about how to help students get logged in. So that's our learning target. We want to be able to help students get logged into Canvas. And because Canvas talks to PowerSchool, whenever a student logs into their account, any course that a teacher is using or any course they're enrolled in is going to be shown on their dashboard. So they can customize their dashboard just like you can customize your dashboard. And if you need to know how to do that, just watch the first video. Alright, so as we said in the first video, students will log in exactly the same way that teachers do, and that's going to be by using their students their student HCDE account. So that's going to be the email address that the county has given them that they, in many cases, have never used, although that's changing a little bit. Typically, that email address is going to be something along the lines of their first two initials and then a series of numbers, usually their student ID number, and then it's going to be at students with an S .hcde.org. So they need to know how to access that Gmail address. So what I would recommend is right before you're about to launch Canvas for your classroom, that you just take a few moments in the couple classes before you do this and have students try to actually have them log into this account. And if they can log in successfully, tell them, hey, that login is going to be important, so make sure you hang on to that, make sure you know what that is. And write down the names of the ones who can't log in. I know that Ms. Woods sent out an email near the beginning of the year that gave students Hamilton County email addresses. This is also something that I can help with if you have students that don't know their password. Now, if a student has never logged into this email address, their default password is going to be smstudent. All lowercase. So the first time they log in to this email address, and that's going to be through Google, they're going to use this password if they've never used this before. The first time they log in, they'll be asked to change the password. So what I had my students do is I gave them little cards that had their name, their Hamilton County email address, and then I had them log in, especially if they hadn't done this before, change their password, and then write their new password on the card, just a little 3x5. And then I had them take a picture of it with their phone, but then they gave the card to me. So they turned that into me. So that way I've got it, they've got a picture of it, and that's just a easy way to make sure that everyone this is not going to be a barrier, in other words, to them being able to use Canvas and you being able to instruct them. Okay, so make sure your students, and I would do this a few days before you're actually going to have them start accessing materials in Canvas. Make sure they can get logged into this Gmail address, and then make sure they change their password if they've not logged in before. If you have students that don't know their password, they've logged in the past, but they can't remember what it is, send their name to me, their first and last name, and their grade, and I can go in and reset their password to smstudent. Okay? All right. So let's assume now all your students know their HCDE Gmail address and password. So now how do they get logged in? Well, again, it's very much like the getting logged in as a teacher. They're going to need to go to hcde.instructure.com. Now I will say This is an area where we've probably had 80% of the login errors have come from this particular requirement. Because what students are kind of, and I would say many of us are in the habit of doing, is instead of going to a specific URL, either they're in the habit of searching for something, so they might do this, HCDE instructure. If I can spell it correctly. So they might search for something like this. And when they search for that, they could find it here, and if they do, that's great. But more often than not, what's going to happen is they're just going to search for Instructure Canvas, or they've done that in the past without the HCDE, and they're going to get something that looks like this: canvas.instructure.com. Oh, well, that looks official. Okay, log into Canvas. Well, that's what I want to do. So they're going to click on that, and they're going to get this blue and white screen. So if you see a student and they have this kind of screen on their computer, that's a dead giveaway that they have not gone through the HCDE portal. In other words, hcde.instructure.com. What's kind of tricky and confusing about this is that they can actually log in through this screen, but it's not going to take them to the right place. Let me show you what I mean. So a lot of them will click on this login with Google, and they'll even use their HCDE account. And it actually will log them in to something. But notice, what they see here in the top left corner is not the Hamilton County seal. They don't see any courses in their dashboard. So I've had a couple students do this, and they're like, "Mr. Doebler, all my stuff's gone." And so what we've had to do is just tell them to log out, and then go to the proper web address, the hcde.instructure.com. And then when they log in through there, now it looks familiar. Okay, and you notice you've got the HCDE seal in that top left corner. So that's, and of course that and the courses in their dashboard, that is how they know they're in the right place visually. Okay. The other issue that we've had with students logging in that I do want to make you aware about is sometimes a student will try to log in and they're going to see a screen that looks something like this. And this was a little tricky. This took us a few days to kind of figure out what was going on exactly. But what's happening typically when they see this screen is that, and this will tend to happen on shared computers. So let's say they're on a Chromebook or one of the computers in a lab. Somebody who's been on the computer previously has probably left their personal Google account logged in. And because Canvas really is, as I've said, it's highly integrated with their HCDE Gmail account. So if they see this screen, what you need to tell them is they need to go to google.com and they need to make sure that what they're seeing here is their HCDE account. And a lot of times it's not. So if they're seeing something that's either someone else's Google account or if it's their personal Google account, then they'll just need to sign out of that Google account. And then that way, and when they see that blue sign-in button, they're in a good position then. Then they can go to the actual website, and of course it will probably ask, mine has already kind of been saved in there. So it'll ask them to input their HCDE account name. With the account name, probably the biggest problem we've had with that, other than forgetting passwords, is because they're not used to using it, is that when they type in their their address or their email account address and then do the @ some of them will mistakenly put student.hcde .org instead of students. So make sure it has the S at both ends of that word. But that is, or they'll forget one of the dots. So so like I said, there's kind of 3 major types of login issues that we've had with students. Number 1, not going through the portal. That's about 80% of the login errors. The other 15% or so would be someone else's Google account is logged in the background and they didn't know it. So showed you how to fix that. That's when you get the 403 error. And then the other 5%, there's some kind of problem with their the way they're typing in their email address. All right, so once they get logged in, then of course one of the first things I would have them do is customize their dashboard just like we did in the last video. And again, that's through courses, all courses, and you want to have them star the courses that they're going to use Canvas for, which would be yours and any others, and then go back to their dashboard and they should see just their courses there. Okay, again, hopefully that helps. If you run into any problems, just ask, or you can use the handy dandy help feature. Again, I highly recommend the hotline or the chat with Canvas support. They're both very, very reliable and effective. See you in the next video.